and welcome back, everybody, to Create With Me with Michelle Holden. And I'm just waiting for some people to hop on, say hello. Just getting a few things ready here, putting my iPad at the side here on mute. And today, if you got the reminder, that's super. If you didn't, that's okay too. And you're sort of on the schedule every Tuesday at 2, Create with me for the next coming at least 4 to 6 weeks. So we'll see where we'll go. I plan to take you on a little journey. And today is, I'm just going to put my notes where I can see them. Just a little review of why I started this series, because I think the 100-Day Project started it all. And I'm really excited to share this simple knowledge that I learned from it with you and in live. So it's great practice for me and for also upcoming courses. So if you are not on my mailing list or signed up for Create With Me, do so if you want to be in the loop for upcoming courses in the fall. More on that later. So when you sign up for Create With Me, don't forget that you will receive, and I notice there's a little bit of an error. Good afternoon. All right. In my mark making reflection sheet, but it's really, really good. This is the one that you get, and it just reminds you of the mindset. This is a slow, gentle practice because that's how I work. And I know there's others out there like me. I don't want the push, the crazy stuff, all of that stuff that sort of drives us crazy on socials. And this is a great practice to be doing instead of scrolling. Every time I'm scrolling, I go, okay, I do it more now. Of course, there is some scrolling time. Of course, you have to have that. And when you're slowing down and not scrolling, you are creating. And this intuitive art journaling or this intuitive art practice takes time. And you just don't need to be ready. You just need to show up and do it, even if it's just 10 minutes a day. So this is, and I notice it's in the incorrect orientation, but I will fix that. Page 2 on the other side. Reflection is really important. It doesn't need to take more than 5-10 minutes. The best time is after an art session. I'll show you today what I did. I finished up this page today, and I was just working on it. I let it sit, and it needed, so it took 2 days. So 2 20-minute sessions. And what my focus was, see, I don't use the sheet so much as I use the prompts, and I write them on the opposing page. If you have an art journal like this, or any size, the small ones, it doesn't matter. But even if you want to keep those notes, those prompts come in handy. For instance, did I take my time today? Yes, and I've been learning to take more time. And how did it feel to slow down? This is number 4 on your mark making sheet, mark making reflection sheet. Were there moments where you felt connected to your intuition. And this is what I'm talking about that comes over time. Just listening. Did you discover any new marks? Today, it'll be new colors, maybe new ways to use those colors. And we're going to go into that right after this. And emotional or intuitive insights. What emotions or intuitive insights emerged during the mark making? Like, how did you feel? Are you using the same mark? Is that coming up? Where would you like to go? Did it not feel authentic? Do you feel like you're just sort of copying other artists that you view on Pinterest? So those are the kinds of things. I'll read what I wrote down, and then we'll move on to feeling color today. I integrated the collage with paint layers. I let it sit, and it just needed more, and what that was and why. So you can do this too. It doesn't matter what stage you are in this practice. It's always good to reflect, because when you go back, this has nothing. I go, oh, I really like it. Now, what was I thinking at that time? Those notes are very handy. And I need to make more, as you can see. So let's see who's here. Okay. Hello, Michelle. Hello, Mary. And how are you feeling today? I'm going to use my prompts. I just love using prompts because it keeps me in line with what keeps me in focus. And so today is all about the feeling of color. And I know that sometimes I can rush through things and not pause and go, okay, how did I feel with that color? Even if it's just for a brief moment. These reflections don't need to take so long. What color are you feeling today? So, I'll start. What color am I feeling today? I'm feeling warm. I'm feeling like I could use some warm colors, maybe with some cool highlights. So that would be the oranges, the yellows, the yellow ochres, and of course we're going to use white and black with those. You might be feeling cool, blues. You could add a highlight color and and it would change it to more aqua. Maybe it's turquoise. Maybe it's cobalt blue, which is a very cool blue. So if you don't mind, mention in the comments, what color are you feeling? You can't hear me? How about now? You can turn up your iPad. Oh, is there sound at all? Okay, Marjorie, you can hear me. Can you hear me loud and clear like my usual videos? Let me know. Oh, thank you, Marjorie. And I'm in horizontal mode, as you can see. These lives are so good. You know, it keeps me on my toes. And the one thing, and I'm going to just move away from my notes and show up more like me. And this is only my second, and I plan to do a lot more live videos because, as I'm about to say, they keep me on my toes. And it's like real teaching in the classroom, but I'm doing it to cameras. But it's so much more connected because I get to connect with you guys. Oh, it's so great, especially when I'm working in my studio most of the time by myself. And it's just great. Mary says, you're feeling cold. Okay. Well, maybe you want to choose warm to warm up. Maybe you want to use blues to reflect that feeling. You see how this is all very intuitive? And I'm going to explain what I'm going to do today. So nice to see everybody or hear everyone. Sylvia. Okay, time to move on. So, let's see, was there anything else I forgot? So don't forget to sign up for Create With Me. The link is in the video description below the video. It's all in there. I'm also having my first, I haven't sent one out yet, bad, but Letters from the Studio. They're going to be really more philosophical. And so I get to communicate, I get to connect with that, with you, because there's a lot more reasons and there's and things that go on when we are creating. It is incredible. So that's referring to neuroaesthetics, if anyone is into that. I'm a real nerd when it comes to that stuff, and I could just keep on learning. Right now, I'm reading the book Your Brain on Art, and I hope that's the right title. It is amazing. So, back to the feeling of color. Color is huge. Humans. Oh, you did? Isn't that amazing? Yes. Oh, it is definitely a book you need to, and can learn from with many reads, don't you think? Oh, and sometimes I have too many books going. There's another one. And of course, during my lives, I'm not going to remember the titles of my books. This is why notes are so good. Oh, yes, there's a ton to take in one read. And I'm so glad that they mention Nicholas Wilton, because that's his philosophy too. I'm along the same lines, intuitive. I'm an intuitive introvert. So doing this is huge for me, but I love it. I love it the more I do it. And anything with intuition, our brain, our soul, our existence is so amazing. And what we're creating reflects that. So let's move on to the feeling of color. So today I'm going to demonstrate just very easily and very quickly. I'm going to use cool colors on one substrate. This is 140-pound watercolor paper. And I'm going to choose a few blues. I like my turquoise. I like this amazing phthalo cyan blue. I also love Payne's gray, and I use those a lot. Blue to me represents, it's so light, mysterious. You can go very dark and very light with it when you adjust your values using black and white, and I'll do a little of that. Then there's warm. Warm is so, it hits the soul right there. It just makes you feel better. It warms you up. So anyone else want to mention what color they're feeling today? Okay, I'm going to move on. So when I'm exploring color, as we've said, it's not about color theory, though knowing the contrasting color or the on the color wheel, blue, orange, yellow, purple, is very helpful. But that's later on down the road. That's when you spin on out of your intuitive mode and then just sort of look and analyze. But intuitive art journaling is not about that. It's all about feeling and dropping down into that, I'm going to call it your heart space. So, which I love because I tried learning about color in the theory way, when you draw the grids and you put all these colors in and then you go, okay, now what? Well, we don't paint that way and I don't paint that way. So it was not helpful. I couldn't relate to it. So this is one way that you could start with learning about the feeling of your colors. So I'm going to start with cools, blues, and I'm only going to choose a few tools because that can really change the energy of the marks or the textures that you're going to use. So I'm going to use a craft brush, a color shaper, a round brush, and a flat brush. And we'll see what happens from there. I love to score through or scratch through with my awl, which needs some gluing again. It sort of comes apart because it gets wet. A wider color shaper. And you've seen me if you've watched my videos. The brayer is amazing for spreading or lifting. So we'll see what we'll do with that. I've got a paper palette here. I'm also going to use similar temperature colors with my neo-colored pastels and my water-soluble pastels. So if I'm starting cool, I'm even going to activate the page with pencil like I usually do because I want it to have the same feeling. I need to put this energy or my energy into the substrate. And if you missed last week's, we didn't go into too much of this, but coming up is another art tool video live session with found objects. So if you love experimenting with those, come on back next week. Sign up to get the email and materials that you might need. I'm also going to experiment with this water-soluble graphite stick. It goes on much darker before I lay down some cool layers. And going off the edge is also a good, fun way. And notice how I'm moving my arm and I'm really getting into the movements. I'm connecting. And I know for this demonstration, I'm talking, but alone in the studio, I'm not. So I tend to even go slower and paying attention. I'm also paying attention to the pressure, light. When I add pressure, I notice my marks change. These are things, this is being present. I'm really liking what's going on, so I'm going to stop. And now I'm going to just put some cool colors here on my palette. Oh, Stabilo Woodies. I have not, there we go. I love live videos because, things like this happen. There, I'm feeling much better. If you hear me laughing, then I'm good. We must laugh. So that was the cerulean. That was that dark. I think I'm just going to use those two. And since this is a cool, this is quinacridone magenta, it is a cool red, it sort of will change it and just sort of, so it's not just all blues. Okay. So I'm going to come in with my Neo Color Cardon Dash, Caron Dash, and I'm going to, this is very, reminds me of some of the blue flowers. And if anyone gardens or has flowers, I planted some beautiful ones, just petunias, but the dark purple next to the potato leaves that you put in your flower pots, and those two are amazing together there. I've never painted with these two colors, so your outside, your environment can really influence your color choices, the feeling. So I'm going to try that. Okay. So I'm just going to put different blues in. This is a warmer blue because there's a little more yellow, so it's a turquoise. And I like to use a combination of warm blues, like warmer, to very cool. Okay. So these are water soluble, so I just want to show you. And then you can just play. Using this larger page, I get to move my arm around more. Sometimes I'll leave the marks dry without water. Sometimes I'll add a bit of water. Okay, and I don't want to make it all solid. You want those bits of white showing through for the next layers. And the approach to this with using layers of color, that's just what they are. They're layers. So then if this will dry very quickly, then I'll come in, I'll change tools, and then I'm going to come in with my other blue. Since the page is slightly wet, so there's a bit of bleeding there. Now remember, this is just an experiment. This is just playing and exploring. This is not a painting. At the most, it will be a background. So see how the scratchy craft brush is very cool? I'm going to choose my smaller color shaper. And I'm going to also combine to get the really dark. And you'll notice you'll either love this color or go, whoa, you'll be standoffish. And that's okay, because once you add a bit of white, and I'm just going to go right directly on, using my larger color shaper. Notice, see the white layer that dried already? So it keeps its color, and it just you can use it as a veil. So if you find that too garish, you can just cover it up or scrape through it. Covering it up is fun because if there's another bright color under it, I love to use my awl or a knitting needle or the end of a brush, whatever you have. You don't need to buy anything more. When there's too many scratches, I'll just you can go like that. And you can do that a few times before it dries. So that's better. Okay. I'm going to add some turquoise over here. So this will be our blue page and some white. How are we feeling, everyone? Now notice, when you're exploring your colors, you'll find that some are a lot more opaque than others. So this is just a little note for yourself. And when they're like that, one layer, once you start building up your layers, you can just have fun. I'm going to use my brown brush now. So I haven't put any of... So now we're going to use marks, but using our colors. These are very, very dark. Notice I put them with some blue already so they wouldn't be too much. I don't know how I feel about that, so I'm just going to do this. You can also use a bit of water spray. This is an old eyeglass cleaning bottle. Then you can go in. Let's use something a little stronger. Let's use this blue. See, there's a bit of mauve under that blue. So when you use a drawing tool, it'll score through it and it'll reveal. One important point, which I'm noticing in my Facebook group when I'm on, is when back in the day when I did this, I did so many layers and so many layers, it got so busy that at one point you wouldn't know where to look. So it's really important to have those quiet spaces. You can use any color. You can use a value of white, black. You can even use another blue. But I just want to demonstrate over here. It's a bit busy here. So a quiet space would just be to veil it. I like taking maybe the white from the edge, quieting that down. It doesn't necessarily need to remain white, but you're quieting down those previous layers for something new to come, or not. And I love the color shaper. You can also use a credit card, a brayer, for instance. And notice it's a little quieter than it was before, but still very cool. Okay, so that's the cool one. Let's do one more. Since I'm using a little bit of that magenta, and sometimes it takes time, these are water soluble, there has to be enough moisture for it to mark. Okay, so I'll leave that there. That's a good start. So then you could let that dry, then come back another day, add some more layers on there. If you wanted to keep it cool, or then if you wanted to have accents of orange or blue, it'll be up to you how you feel. Maybe you just want to leave it all a cool temperature. And then you could start adding collage. I like to use pieces of collage like this. This is a piece of, it's an old book page, breakfast menus, and I love finding words like this. And what I do is I use it as my roll off page or cleaning my brush. And this idea came from Adele, and everybody knows, or if you don't, Adele is amazing. And now it's dry, and it's an amazing piece of collage that I can use. And notice if you just have a little bit of warm, it makes all the other cool colors pop. So there's some theory that you would apply later on down the road once you start learning. But the most important thing is using colors that feel good to you. Now we're going to work on the warm page, which I'm going to approach the same because I want to compare them. So we'll start with some pencil. And our shapes, our line, pressing. This is a 6B. I'm noticing it's much better. But say if I wanted just those very fine pencil lines. Oh, where did you go, pencil? Oh, I moved my pencil. Oh, I always have one. Notice they're very fine. And in the end, you can see them. I mean, with layers building. Okay, I just want to stop there. I want to come in with some yellow. I think I have a whole bunch of brown-eyed Susans. There's a lot of yellow in my garden. And this has really been influencing me. What colors influence you? Love the oranges. You can also experiment with mixing, but probably when you're first starting, you're just putting them directly out of the tube, and that is totally fine. So I'm just gonna make sure I don't have any blue on my brush because that'll be mud, but those combinations can make amazing neutral tones, which will further on down the road. And this is a fun exercise to do. Your brush might follow those shapes. And these art tools, these drawing tools, are great for glazing. They're great for the very first layers and last layers. So I'm loving that. Okay. So I'm going to just be spontaneous, follow my intuition, and it's saying, just put the orange on. And a little goes a long way. So I'm going to use my brayer. And I love those spontaneous marks. Let's use a little bit of red here. Just a little. It's pretty strong. This is cadmium red, medium hue. let's try some white. And depending on how you're feeling any day, you can pre-mix on your palette here, but just for demonstration purposes, I'm just wanting to. And I notice overlapping is huge. And you'll see what I've learned by layering is coming in, going strong, so changing the saturation of your colors, adding a white or a black. Now, I'm not going to go black, but a little wouldn't hurt. I'm going to use no, I've not ever done this before, but I was responding to how neat that these color shapers can remove the upper layer and sort of scratch through. So that's really cool. And I think I want to just come in with a bit more orange again. And you have layers over layers. So you can play with translucency, opacity, and now scoring through might be very interesting. Especially the black. So notice it just takes the heaviness away a bit. Yes, hues of blue. Oh, there's so many beautiful ones. Okay, so I'm going to come back in with maybe some white. Nope, it's not showing up. Okay. And these are things that you just learn as you go. This is a very cool yellow, but it's still a warm color. It's working. So instead of just doing a whole solid color, which we will be doing, today was just a demonstration of how you can still learn to respond to your art tools while putting in areas of either cool or warm colors, however you're feeling. Now, I've got a little bit of this, and I just notice that's a little cooler. Okay. All right, so let's look at them side by side. Okay, there we are. So quite a different feel between the two. Some days I really love this. I really learned to use warm colors, and that I really loved how they felt during my 100-day project. So go on and check that out. There's about 13 episodes or so where I take you through all my pages. I might start with warm and then end up putting accents of blue in at the end, or vice versa. I also made a side-by-side 2 pages to remind me, and I will put this up in my studio, to this is the feeling. Am I feeling warm colors today or cool colors? Now, this is just one way to start start approaching your colors. But once you mix up the warm and the cool, what you want to do is make sure your layers are dry so that there's no mud happening before you put on the next layer if it's a cool and a warm. It's just a safe, reliable way to sort your colors. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this short episode of Create With Me. There's so many more things that you can do. This is just the start with color. You can close your eyes and just pick them. Depends how crazy you want to get. It could be messy, but very fun. Once you start exploring a specific page, you could even write the notes right on the page. Like, I love this, a color if you wanted to remember it, the sequence of your layers, if you really liked how that one particular area turned out. Maybe you really liked certain marks or shapes. And notice I couldn't have planned these shapes. And these are just areas of color. They're not really a shape yet, but that could evolve into a shape, because the next layers that I would use is collage. So stay with me. Make sure you sign up. And there is more to come. Hop on my newsletter. Letters from the studio as well, and the Create With Me schedule, and more resources are going to be on their way. Did anyone have any questions or comments? Okay. Well, stay tuned for next week's Create With Me every Tuesday at 2, and we will be exploring more art tools, found objects. I won't give away any more. Your supply list will be in the email that comes when you sign up, and any new reflection or free downloads. So take care, happy creating, and I will see you Sunday for my new vlog and next Tuesday. Bye for now.